Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back. Today I'm on Planet Zoo and I'm making an enclosure for the African penguin. Now, over the weekend I treated myself to two packs, that being the conservation pack as well as the African pack. And I heard a lot of good things about how many building equipments are in there and different pieces. And fair to say, I really enjoyed these two packs, and there's some really interesting bits and pieces in there, as well as the animals being really cool as well. Obviously for the African pack I had to get it as well, not just for like some of the building parts, but for the penguins, as I absolutely love birds, and penguins being one of my favorite creatures out there. Still not like won my heart over compared to flamingos, but still absolutely love penguins. They're a really interesting creature and also pretty adorable. So the way I was going for with this originally, I was going to do a raised swimming area so you could see the swimming area from under the water, but it wasn't working out the way I wanted it to, so I went in a different direction and just had a pool that you can sort of look down onto and see them in there. I kind of used a lot of the fake rock for the pool kind of area, and do like eventually when I get to it on this video, because obviously this is past river building this and present river talking to you right now. Eventually at the bottom I do use concrete instead of the fake rock to give it that kind of like modern look, and I try and keep the majority of this enclosure pretty flat, only just using some rocks here and there to buff it up and kind of give it that kind of like rocky coastal sort of vibe. This is the concrete I was going on about, and then just use rocks here and there that sort of like invade from the corners and the center onto the concrete, just to give it like an interesting look, and add two fake drains at the bottom as well. And then the house, I don't really make it massive, I keep it kind of small because I don't want them to be always in there. I will put bedding in there, so obviously got a place to sleep, but the main time is just nice to see them in the pool basically. So I do use a few of the African bits, being the plaster blocks, and then as well I thought I may as well use some of the conservation flat grass and make like a grassy flower kind of meadow sort of roof, as I really do like the enjoyment look of that. Now as you can see right now, I'm just sort of like trying to fiddle around, try and get the way I want it to look, and I use some actual fencing rather than making my own for this bit here, because I do like the look of like that sort of like chain kind of look, and I wanted to make it myself as such, because I feel like this has like a really interesting quality to it. Now what I'm going to be doing is sort of like a barrier, but like obviously the penguins aren't going to be able to get onto that side of the rock, but just in case, and mainly to keep, obviously they won't jump in there in the game, but in reality to keep the guests from deciding to have a dip with the penguins, make like a barrier so the guests can't get in either, or at least have a hard time getting in. Again, using some of the African bits there, just as I really like the look of this. Like for me this was aesthetically pleasing. Now I only had a small bit of time. This is the bit of time that you're seeing right now. I had to complete this the following day. For some reason, like as you can see when I was doing the bars first, it was really easy to put them in, and for some reason it didn't matter which way I switched it, it was still staying in the same direction. So I had to go backwards a bit, forwards a bit, backwards a bit, forward a bit to get the poles in the right area. So it did take me a little bit longer than it took me to do the first segment. I don't know why it does this again. Sometimes it happens to me, sometimes it doesn't. When it does happen to me, it's a slight inconvenience, not a massive inconvenience, but we get there in the end and we end up like finishing the bars, a little bit of tweaking here and there, and like it has like a really nice aesthetic. I feel like it blends in quite well with the, well, not blend in, but it fits in with the rockery. On this bit here I wanted to have like planters and do different coloured like plants, flowers, make it sort of like pretty and decorative. This was before I decided I was going to do like a nature walk using some of the new conservation like sign of like plants and things like this. As you can see, this is like sped up, so in the background I'm kind of like looking around, seeing what plants will look nice, and sort of like investigating different plants as well as some of the new plants I've got from a few of the packs. And then once I've got one side done, all I do is sort of copy and paste the plants over there, so the plants are the same from each side. I don't think I put a small banana tree on the other side either, just so it has like a slight difference, but it looks like they've got like very similar plants. Anyways, going back to the building, this is what I was on about, where I used the conservation pack a fair bit, using the grassy sort of panels to make like a lovely sort of grass nature roof, and then adding tons of flowers for, I know there's no bees in the game, but technically we can say it's a nice eco garden to try and help the environment in the area. Plenty of flowers. It looks really pretty and kind of stunning. Like, I love seeing it from above, just all those lovely little flowers. The conservation pack for me was definitely a winner. Like, I don't think there's something where I've gone in that pack like, I don't really like the look of that. I probably won't use it that often, but no, in this pack, it's just like a dream pack, really. There's tons of really interesting things, especially for like doing buildings, if you're into doing like eco buildings or that kind of sort of thing, or making gardens. There's tons of nice flowers. I do the windows in the inside, even though I wasn't going to be mainly focused on the inside of the building. Like I did say when I get the conservation pack, I would make my own sort of off-show zookeeper areas, but I didn't really need to in this building, because I do put in a keeper hut in the back, which sort of has that basis covered. Like, it's really interesting to actually go into the building itself and have a nosy what the zookeepers are doing. Even got like a really interesting like screenshot, and I think I also got a small clip to show off of a zookeeper in there. Like, it's just a nice interesting sort of like building, and I didn't feel like I needed to add all the zookeeper equipment and that, because it technically be in that building, in that little room. I added a bit of bedding in there, like I said, so they can go in there and sleep, and then I added like loads of different types of enrichment items in there, not more for like the benefit of the enclosure look, but just for me to enjoy watching. Now, I didn't show me making this like nature path, because it was quite tedious. It took me a while, especially doing all the blocks on the side of the like gravel floor there, and I did make sure some of the plants and grasses sort of grew into the gravel, like it was underneath slightly damaged and plants were being able to grow through it, but no major massive plants because you'd pull those out. But yeah, I really enjoy the way this looks. Like, this is very aesthetically pleasing for me, and I have sat here a fair bit getting a few clips and just watching the penguins do their thing. I did a decent like colony of penguins into this enclosure, as I didn't want to have it so there's only a few and it looked a bit sorry for itself. I wanted that quite large sort of look to it, and I feel like I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Like, it's just been fun, and this was on about zookeeper. Like, I didn't really have to add all that stuff because it was already in this building. It was interesting watching the keepers actually interact with all this stuff, and you can see into the enclosure from the keeper hut. And yeah, I'm pretty happy, pretty proud of this. I'd love to know what you guys think about this enclosure. I haven't quite added it to the workshop yet, but if you do want it added to the workshop, let me know in the comments. And anyways, I'll let you enjoy the last few clips I've got, and thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.